Hello, my garden friends. Thanks for coming back. I wanted to show you, this is part two. Part one was I showed you the plants. These are a peace lily, a spathiphyllum, and they were in these two pots. I have one over here as well. And if you watched part one, you know that they were really just looked like they were fainting and kind of hanging over the side. But I cleaned them up. I took off some of the dead leaves, and I also trimmed the roots on some of them that I just pulled them out of the pot, shook off all the soil that was on there, all the dirt, and put that back in the pot. And now they certainly look much more revived, don't they? I mean, they're really just kind of like picking up. And what I have them soaking in is a 50-50 rainwater and worm leachate, which is really I've added rainwater to the worm bins, and then when it drains through, it collects a lot of the worm leachate that comes off of their bodies, because worms don't actually urinate. They kind of like sweat it through their on their body, and then that rinses it off. The castings do come out as, you know, poop, but the sweat is more of a, you know, out of their pores or out of their sweat glands, if that's in fact what they have. Anyway, I wanted to show you the difference. Now, the plants are soaking, but then I also had more of the rainwater and leachate left in here, and so I have, this is, look at the difference. Look at how it just falls like sand. I have a lot of perlite and vermiculite in with, this is Miracle Grow potting soil, and I like that whenever I'm doing house plants. That seems to work pretty well for me. But this is really dried, and it hasn't been, I haven't replaced it in probably close to a year. I always water with rainwater. I always use worm leachate in it. I like to do Epsom salts. That's my other go-to natural fertilizer or amendment, supplement, if you will. And but it does dry out. The roots will almost, they're long roots on a spathiphyllum, and they will go down, and then they just start to almost like get like this. You know, it almost forms like a ball, and the part up underneath doesn't seem to really get absorbed. You know, the nutrients don't really get absorbed. Sometimes I take the whole pot and put it in a bucket with rainwater and leachate in it, and let the whole thing really dunk it down. But I just wanted to show you this. Now you saw how dry that was. Now I've added this. I added some worm castings to it from my worms, and I've added worm leachate, and I've added rainwater to it, and it becomes almost like there's sand in it. You know, you feel that kind of grit to it, and this is so much, you know, you could squeeze this, you wouldn't get any water out of it, but it almost holds together, whereas this is going to fall right apart. So imagine your plants are anchored in this. They like this so much better, so much better. That was tip one. Make sure that you, if you have soil that you want to replenish, it's not hard to do. Just take it out. You know, it isn't always just watering it in or adding it on the top. Sometimes everybody needs a complete redo. You know, it's like when you're house cleaning and you have to take everything out of the closets and then start from the beginning, everything out of the drawers, clean them out and start from the beginning. So that's what we're doing here. I didn't clean these out, but what I am doing is I'm adding fresh coffee filters. I wanted to show you these. I like buying the round ones because they fit in my pots nicely. You know, I just turn it over to give it a little extra. But I use 2-ply. This is a cotton, you know, it's made of cotton and it's a fiber. But the interesting thing is, when I add that in there and then I put my soil in afterwards, I don't have to put in a stone or anything or a screen of any sort to keep the soil from, you know, leaking out. And if you've watched me, you know that I take I take 3 or 4 of these caps and I put that down underneath it, and that really holds them up off the ground or off the tray if they're in a little saucer. But anyway, even a year later, when I pull this out, those fibers and the soil and the roots have actually become one. It's not like this disintegrates and then goes away. It's just the little fibers in it seem to just hang on there. You don't see any of this, but the soil doesn't really seem to come out. And so that's another tip, is that this is an easy way of doing it. And so that's tip number 2. And as you can see, these guys have really revived. So I will leave you with that, and once I get everybody planted and back in place, I will show you part 3. Take care. Bye-bye.